Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing your bank balance means nothing. The numbers are still there on the screen, but they've lost their power. Shops refuse cards, ATMs show error messages, prices double in hours, not years. While most people panic, a small group stays strangely calm. They've seen this movie before, and they prepared. The real question isn't why money failed, it's why they didn't. Throughout history, currency has collapsed again and again. Empires fell, paper promises burned, and digital balances vanished with a click. Yet every time, the wealthy didn't disappear. They adapted, they shifted, they kept what actually mattered. Because when currency collapses, money isn't what keeps you rich, control is. Look at Weimar Germany in the 1920s. Hyperinflation was so extreme that people carried cash in wheelbarrows just to buy bread. Salaries were paid twice a day so workers could rush out before prices changed again. The middle class was wiped out almost overnight. Savings that took decades to build became worthless in months. But while most people were ruined, some quietly grew richer. Those who owned land, factories, and real goods didn't panic. They exchanged paper for property. They bought businesses for the price of a meal. When the dust settled, they emerged with control over real assets, while others were left with nothing but memories of lost money. This pattern repeats everywhere. Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Argentina, Lebanon, Sri Lanka. Each time the currency collapses, and each time the same mistake is made. People cling to cash, believing the system will recover. The wealthy don't wait. They move early because they understand one brutal truth. Currency is a tool, not wealth itself. So what do the rich actually keep when currency collapses? First, they keep assets that exist outside the banking system. Land is one of the oldest. You can't print more land. You can't inflate it away. Borders may change, governments may fall, but land remains. In every currency crisis, farmland, rental property, and strategic real estate hold value because people still need food, shelter, and space to operate. Even if prices fluctuate, ownership equals leverage. When currency fails, rent can be demanded in anything of value, foreign money, goods, services, or even future favors. They also keep businesses that solve real problems. When money collapses, consumption doesn't stop, it changes. People stop buying luxuries, but essentials become even more valuable. Food suppliers, energy providers, logistics, healthcare, and security don't disappear. In fact, they gain power. The wealthy often own or control these systems indirectly. While others are confused by collapsing prices, these businesses simply adjust how they get paid. Then there's gold, not because it's magical, but because it's trusted. For thousands of years, across cultures that never met, gold has been accepted as a store of value. When currencies die, gold doesn't rise, it reveals what paper was hiding. Rich families don't buy gold to get rich, they buy it to stay rich. It's insurance against political stupidity, bad policy, and broken systems. But here's what most people don't realize. The rich don't keep all their wealth in gold either. They diversify into things that can't be frozen with a button. When banks collapse or governments impose capital controls, digital money becomes a cage. That's why wealthy individuals spread assets across jurisdictions, legal systems, and forms. Some wealth is held abroad, some in trusts, some in physical form, some in structures designed to survive chaos.
They also keep access to information, access to people, access to decision makers.
In every crisis, those with the right connections move first. They hear whispers before announcements. They exit before borders close. They convert assets before rules change. When currency collapses, speed matters more than intelligence, and speed comes from access. Another thing they keep is skills that command value anywhere. A collapsed currency doesn't erase demand for expertise. Wealthy families invest heavily in education, not just for prestige, but for mobility. When one system fails, skills cross borders. Paper money doesn't. The rich also understand something deeply uncomfortable. Morality changes during collapse. Contracts are broken, laws are rewritten, promises mean less. In those moments, ownership and control matter more than fairness. That's why the wealthy rely less on trust and more on structure. Legal frameworks, hard assets, and enforceable control replace goodwill. It sounds cold, but history doesn't reward innocence during financial collapse. Let's talk about banks. Most people assume banks protect wealth. In reality, banks protect the system. When currency collapses, banks freeze withdrawals, limit transfers, or shut down entirely. Bail-ins replace bailouts. Depositors become unsecured creditors overnight. The wealthy know this. That's why they never keep all their wealth inside banks. Cash in the bank is convenient, not safe. They also keep optionality. Options mean choices, the ability to move, adapt, and wait. During collapse, forced sellers lose everything. Those with options buy from them. Crisis isn't just danger, it's discount season for those who prepared. What about stocks? Public markets often collapse with currency, but ownership doesn't disappear. The wealthy focus on companies with real assets, global revenue, and pricing power. They avoid businesses dependent on local currency alone. Multinational exposure becomes a shield. When one currency fails, another carries the load. In recent years, digital assets enter the conversation. Some wealthy individuals hold them not out of belief, but as an alternative rail, something outside traditional control. Not as a replacement for everything, but as a hedge against total system failure. The key isn't what the asset is. The key is independence from a single point of failure. Now here's the part no one likes to hear. When currency collapses, the biggest asset the rich keep is mindset. While others panic, they calculate. While crowds react emotionally, they act strategically. They've studied history. They expect failure. They don't believe in permanent stability. That expectation alone gives them an advantage. Most people ask the wrong question. They ask, how do I protect my money? The rich ask, how do I protect my position? Money is just one layer of that position. Power, ownership, access, and adaptability matter more. This doesn't mean every wealthy person survives every collapse. Some misjudge timing. Some trust the wrong system. Some become overconfident. But as a group, wealth doesn't vanish. It changes hands. Collapses don't destroy wealth. They redistribute it. And that's the final truth. Currency collapse isn't random. It follows bad decisions, debt, and denial. By the time headlines scream, it's already too late for most. But the wealthy moved quietly, long before panic went mainstream. So when currency collapses, the rich don't ask how much money they lost. They ask what they now control. Land, businesses, assets, skills, access, options. Because when money fails, what survives isn't currency, it's ownership. And history shows, again and again, those who understand that rule don't just survive collapse, they emerge owning more of the world than before.